This is Duke University.
Trisector leadership, at its definition, is a mix of tri, sector, and leadership. And I know that sounds pretty self-evident, but each of them has a certain meaning to it. At the end of the day, what we're talking about leadership, we're talking about people who can imagine a future where some of the most important issues that we're trying to address don't exist anymore. And they understand that the tri and the sector are required. So mixing in business, government, and nonprofits, mixing them together to help address some of those big issues. So the leadership angle is all about how do we bring those people together and help them imagine a future in which they're working together as opposed to fighting each other. Engaging across sectors is by no means an easy task. It involves working with folks who might have been adversaries at some point, and yet now we're trying to make them allies. And in the process, you take a lot of risk, both from a personal leadership perspective, but also your organization. One of the first steps before anything else is simply to have a point of view that is larger than your organization. To think about not just what is in the best interest of, say, my business unit or even my organization, but what is in the best interest of our industry, what is the best interest of our country, what is the best interest of our system, what is the best interest of future generations. And when you take that larger point of view, you start to very quickly see it's not just about us. And you start to see the interconnections between us and many other organizations. So having a larger point of view, I think, is the first step. The second step is to engage. And by engage, I don't mean show all your cards and all your mistakes. It's simply just to start the engagement process through dialogue. And through dialogue and active listening, you have a better sense of what do other sectors truly think about your work and your operations, and you'll have a chance to share that back. Trisector leaders have a combination of what you might call character traits and capacity traits. So from the character trait standpoint, they're motivated by multiple things. We call that having balanced motivations. They're often motivated by doing well for themselves or for their families and for society. So they believe in the concept of wealth generation and creating prosperity for all. They're also motivated by doing good, sometimes through direct service, sometimes at systems level change, policy making. They're also motivated by change, and that's where the innovation comes in. They're not happy with the status quo. Progress is what drives them. And when things get stuck, they love to solve that type of a problem. So they're motivated by change. They're also motivated to improve themselves. And in improving themselves, they both have a work-life balance sometimes, but they also are continuously learning and improving. And that's very important because it allows them to invest in themselves and therefore have more to share with others. And finally, they're motivated by having power and influence. They don't always have to be the one in the decision seat, but they want to be able to influence very high-level decisions, and they often see that as a mode to scale impact. Trisector leadership isn't about checking boxes. Have I worked in each sector, or in my collaboration is every sector present? That can be a useful framework sometimes to get things started, but the real so what of trisector leadership is to have trisector impact. It's to be able to address complex problems in ways that no single sector or organization can solve on their own. And that doesn't mean you need every sector at the table. That doesn't mean you personally have had to have worked in every single sector. But what it does mean is you have an empathy and understanding of how to solve a particular problem across sectors in a collaborative fashion. And you understand where and when different organizations come into the mix. And as a result, that doesn't mean you've had to work in every single sector, but it does mean you have to appreciate the complexity of the issue and know when and what you can do and who else has to come into the mix.